Yeah, I need to have some kind of a sponsor on this deal, but you know what? It's honestly, it's not even about that. Like, it's just, I think it's important for people to understand other people's journeys, because if they can pull something from that, I think that's a pretty cool deal.
Oh yeah. No, it's biblical.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so there is no real formal introduction. It usually kind of kicks off with the earphones always make it official, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I feel like a rock star right now.
dude, it's the earphones. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. So, I guess as we kind of get into this, man, it's difficult to say kind of where we start, because we've known each other for a long time. You've got a lot of really great stories to kind of go with. So let's kind of start off with the most recent, which is Vegas. You just came back from Vegas.
Amazing. I say amazing because I'm wanting to see America get back to its feet again. And the last time I was in Vegas wasn't that long ago. It was dead. It was for early meeting with Seeley, and no cars on the street. I mean, casinos were dead. It was sad. This time, cars on the street, people walking the strip, people in the casinos, not as packed.
And not at 100% capacity.
Not at 100% capacity, but I saw something that just it tickled me, because I was able to do that for my company as well, and it's a big thing that we're proud of. But when I was in Vegas, and if you've been in Vegas, you know that the city doesn't sleep.
Right.
So if you want to go buy you a watch at midnight, or go buy you some shirts or some clothes, you can shop, all night. Well, not anymore. It's 11 to 7 in Vegas. 11 to 7. The shops.
PM?
Yeah, 11 in the morning to 7 p.m. in the evening. I'm talking Cartier, Rolex, Louis Vuitton, all of them. All of them. I was just floored. But floored because this is Vegas. But I got to tell you, a year ago, through COVID, and we're going a year strong now, we closed our retail at 7.
Where were you guys before that?
8 o'clock. We started at 9. When we first opened Mattress Firm, it was 9 o'clock. My wife, Karen, and I, that would be our biggest arguments, is a work-life balance. And coming from the old culture, I missed all my daughter's birthday dance recitals, birthday parties. And I said, if I did it, they can do it. But that's not reality anymore. And so something amazing happened. I think it's biblical. I think God said, you know what, we need to redo this. And when we shut down as a country and started, creating different hours of our schedules, it was the right timing. And my people are happier. They are more energetic in their job. They go home, the sun's still out. They have dinner with their family before they're in bed. It's a quality of life that I thought this model would never be able to present itself. And it did. I give God the glory for that, but us, the ability that we saw that and we moved in that direction. So we're still doing it. I'm not going back. That's my Chick-fil-A Sunday, if you will.
Yeah, because Chick-fil-A kills every single day, and they could do phenomenal numbers on Sunday, but they choose not to because of...
It's important to their culture.
Right.
And crazy, Jerry, my son just graduated from TCU. And
Austin.
You know, and grew up with Donde se compra con mucho gusto, jumping on beds, this little boy.
And then the wink.
And the wink.
The infamous wink.
The infamous wink. You know, he can't go anywhere. I mean, before he was 21, he'd try and go into one of the stores. You know, he said, Dad, everybody knows me around here. I said, yeah, buddy, you ain't getting away.
Dude
mask and all.
Local
Mask and all.
celebrity, man.
And, but, you know, it has now made it to where we can actually create the work-life balance, and our employees really see the benefit of that. And then us on our end, you know, God has provided. That's the best way to say it. When we did the number of what 7 to 8 means in our retail, I mean, that was a tough decision to make. But then when we looked at our people and realized we wouldn't be here had they did what we had to do through this COVID, well, it was the best decision I ever made. And I'm not going back.
Yeah.
7 o'clock's the new hour. It's the new normal.
Productivity up, morale up.
So that's where I was going. So Austin comes out of TCU with a degree in communications, but it's very analytically driven. So he showed me, and it's happening. We are doing more business than we were with that extra hour. And and we thought the customer was just going to forget about us, leave, and go buy somewhere else. No, they waited for us and came back the next day. But more importantly, they came back to employees that were so eager to serve them and not upset that they're, you know, on top of their stress, being made to work these crazy hours of retail that were normal. Before COVID, they were normal. We'd stay open sometimes till 11, Jerry. You know that? I mean, wow. And so 7 o'clock, even on a Memorial Day weekend, I'm not extending the hours. No, go home and have dinner with your family. That's more important. So my son is joining the company now, where he's realizing that the company has realized its most important asset has always been its people. You know, you treat your people great, and they're going to treat the guests great.
Right.
You know, it's hand in hand.
Well, and you have to take care of the people that take care of you, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be here without them.
Right.
You know, and God, I love South Texas, don't you? South Texas. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but South Texas. Most loyal customers are Texans.
Yeah, you know, whenever I meet somebody that is not from here, I think we kind of take it for granted because, for me, like personally, I'm from here. I think that things are kind of normal. I guess I take a lot of things for granted, but anytime somebody comes in from out of town, I always hear like, man, y'all are so friendly, and you know, everybody's so welcoming and this and that, and I just don't know any other way to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
no, we're different. We are different. I like that. You know, you know, I'm 52 today, but I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, and Corpus Christi, you know, we're known for being the coconut of Texas. We're brown on the outside, we're white on the inside. You know, if I can say that. You know, and I went to a middle school that Confederate Rebel was the mascot. You know, I mean, that's
is it still?
Not no more. It's not Hamlin Rebels anymore. Now it's the Hamlin Hawks. You know, we
very
times
PC,
are changing.
Very PC.
Yeah, times are changing. Times are changing. But in my Texas history class, I used to want to hide under the desk because I was the enemy. It wasn't until my dad taught me that, hey, buddy, no. You were inside that Alamo too for your independence.
Right.
And then this thing came along not too long ago. My kids made me do my DNA. Dad, do your DNA. Do your DNA. I'm like, well, why do I got to do my DNA?
What'd you do? Like, was it
Ancestry?
Ancestry.com.
Yeah. So I spit in this tube. They send it in.
Yeah.
And
what'd you find out?
Dude, Columbus discovered me. I was already here. I was already here, man. It says, Jerry, South Texas. South Texas. That's where I'm from. Mm-hmm. That's why I love this land. Mm-hmm. That's why I love this agave. That's why I love that aloe vera and everything else that we do great in South Texas. You know, and beans and corn and You know,
it's ingrained in your DNA.
it's in my blood, man. It's who I am. And crazy, but I got to tell you, education's our freedom because, you know, I didn't go to college, but I love to read. I love to educate myself. And as I started to dig in deep into who I am, whoa, I drive the King Ranch. That's mine.
Yeah.
That's mine. The cowboy, it was the vaquero. The cowboy wouldn't be the cowboy without the vaquero.
Right.
The lasso, la riata, lariat. Come on. We are the original. We are the caretakers of this land. And nobody knows this land better than we do. That's why when we're out of town and we come home and we know we're home, we're already feeling good. I used to think I was crazy that I was not from. No, I'm here. Where are you from?
Right. Like, this is my land.
Where are you from?
Where are you at? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is something about that, right? Because I'm sure that you've traveled to many places, but there is really nothing like, and I hate to sound so cliche, but there really is nothing like home.
No, I feel sorry for you if you don't live in Texas. I really do. I mean, we're a country. I mean, I know we're part of the United States, but you ask any Texan, we have that independent spirit, that pride, that it just remember the Alamo. And when you remember I was in there too. It wasn't one side. I was in there too.
Right.
There was a lot of us in there also declaring our independence. But I discovered an amazing tribe, the Tarahumaras. They go into the copper canyons of Mexico, the copper mountains of Mexico, to escape the conquistadors.
The Tarahumaras.
Tarahumara. Amazing. You got to look them up if you haven't seen them. But then you realize why we like beans, why we like corn. They have zero diabetes. Zero. They run up these mountains like goats. You put them in the Olympics, they'll take first, second, third, and fifth. No shoes. They don't even need shoes. Amazing, but they're from the land. They understand the land. They know every little part. Do you know how they kill their prey? Do you know how they'll kill a gazelle? Jerry, do you know how they will kill a gazelle?
With their bare hands. No?
Okay. Jerry, they will run the gazelle down to exhaustion. Did you hear what I said? They will run the gazelle down to exhaustion. That means the gazelle can't get away from them. They will not stop running until the gazelle drops. Have you ever heard of that?
Have
you ever heard of that?
Never. That's the first time I ever hear of that.
They were born to run. How do they run that far? They run hundreds of miles nonstop. They run.
Yeah.
How do they run? They've discovered chia, natural plant chia, that absorbs and holds in their water for these long distance runs that you and I could never do. We would drop of dehydration, but they already know what their body needs to run down a gazelle. Jerry, a gazelle.
That's crazy.
No, that's more than crazy. Man.
You know,
that's
like,
who we are.
Okay, so I know that you live in. So for people who don't know, you live in Corpus.
Yeah.
We are in McAllen. That is what is that? 2.5 hour drive?
It's 145 miles in my steel horse.
On your steel horse, and for you, because you drive like the wolf from Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah. They all know me, especially at that checkpoint. Them boys know me at that checkpoint.
Here he comes. Have you ever thought to yourself, like, when you look around the land, because it is not the most exciting drive from Corpus to the Valley. I will say that. But sometimes I think, like, man, somebody drove through this with a carriage. Somebody drove through this and figured out, like, we should probably hang out here.
Oh yeah.
We should probably call this part home.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's rough, man. Like, you really have to know the land to be comfortable in it.
Without a doubt. If you're not from that land, you will not make it. Period. It's the most treacherous land known to man. But if that's your land, you know what the La Tuna on the cactus can do for you. That's one of the most healthiest waters you can drink is the prickly pear.
Right.
You know? Oh, by the way, that's how you know si eres mexicano. If you know what a tuna is, eres mexicano. Si no sabes lo que es una tuna,
Yeah,
get out of here.
I don't think you're a coconut, bro. I don't think you're a coconut.
Well, I said that's what we are from Corpus, but yeah,
Okay.
no. Yo soy de Nuevo León, Bustamante, Nuevo León.
It sounds like you're really understanding your roots a little bit more these days.
Oh, I do. And you know what? Survival has made me be able to talk in different dialect. I speak good old boy better than good old boy. And because if you're from South Texas, you got to know good old boy. And we live together. I got to tell you, there's some good old boys.
Yeah.
There's some good old boys that speak Spanish, that love our culture, que son, mira de aquella, they're brothers. They're true brothers. But then there's some that are not. You know, it is what it is. But I got to tell you, I got a lot of good white American good old boys that love our culture. They know that we've been in this together all along.
Right.
Since the Alamo, my brother.
Yeah.
Since the Alamo. Don't
Yeah.
forget that. Don't get it twisted. And I'm not your enemy. This is my land. And with me, you can navigate this land better. Without me, you can't. I know every plant on this freaking dirt. I know which one's good for you and which one's bad for you. Don't even let me go show you some mushrooms.
Or some peyote.
Yeah, no. Those Tarahumaras, they don't go see doctors.
Yeah.
You know, they mash their own corn. They have the natural, what's it called, ricin or whatever that comes out of that corn. The natural, I mean, Mother Nature knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know, we mess it up. We go mess it up with everything else. You know, we leave it pretty much in the way it was supposed to be or get it back to what it was. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So, let's talk a little bit about kind of how you grew up, man. Your family heritage, and like, what was life like
Well,
as a kid?
I grew up in the barrio of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Which part?
When I say the barrio, I'm the original Refinery Row neighbor. My house was right in front of the refineries, 1311 Retama Street. My phone number was 884-6250. I'll never forget it. My nightlight was the flame that burnt the poisonous chemicals. That's what lit up our house at night. We didn't have central air, so we would have the windows, and the parking lot was full of caliche, so the caliche dirt would run in through my house every day. And my mom would, you know, I'd just watch her just suffer and cry, and you know, it was pretty rough. You know, that was my childhood in Corpus Christi. And in Corpus Christi, very clearly, you know, Mexicanos and black brothers and sisters had to go to schools on this side of town. The deed of the house that I live in right now says that no persons outside of the white race shall live, and it gives a lot block description of the house that I live in right now. Of course, that was 1955.
Wow.
But you got to know that practices continued on even after that. So in 1979, my parents were the first ones to the second Hispanic family to move into that neighborhood, and they had to ask the employer that my dad was working for had to ask the seller of the house to please sell his employee the house, that it wasn't illegal to sell to him, that he would be okay if he sold him the house to the Hispanic, because he was still looking at the deed of the trust that said no persons outside of the white race. This is 1979.
You're kidding me.
No. That's where I'm from. And remember, I told you my middle school had the Confederate rebel as a mascot. I was cheering on my oppressor as I was the quarterback of my middle school.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What was your number?
12.
12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. See, us indigenous dudes, we love to hit when we play sports.
Oh, man.
So I was the only quarterback that, hey, if you're going to hit me, you better come with it.
You better come with it.
I'm coming
Me
hard.
too. That's probably why we get along, man. I used to play offense, defense. I was a quarterback back then.
I played when there was no pass, no play. That wasn't even a thing. I played with guys that flunked 3 years in a row. They had beards in front of me.
Right, yeah. They should have been sophomores.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So I'm getting kind of what the environment was like.
So it instilled in me, and with my father, because I got kicked out of world geography in high school because I told him that Christopher Columbus was lost. He didn't discover, well, he discovered shit. He discovered this, and I showed him what this was, and I got kicked out. And so I had to go to the office, and my dad had to come, and my dad brought books to prove his point. And so, I've been a product of, and I'm in the Army. I joined the Army. I'm a veteran. And
You joined the Army.
yeah, right after high school. I knew my parents couldn't afford college, so I wasn't going to straddle them with that. And so I made the decision. They could save face. They didn't have to tell me that they couldn't afford to send me to college. I didn't even want to hear it come out of their mouth. So I just joined the Army. So they couldn't even, the distraction was stopping me from going to the Army at that point, not paying for college. So long story short, I went to the Army after high school, and probably the best thing I ever did. And today, the proudest thing I ever did. Because today, just now, I realized what I did. I did what a whole lot of people did not do. And these are the same people that, ask me where I'm from.
Yeah.
And this is my home. Literally. I come from this dirt. And so, I've started doing a lot of studying on who I am, as silly as that is. I didn't go to college, so I'm just now really diving into the history of who we are, and I'm blown away. We're awesome. We are freaking awesome. Where we come from, it's amazing. We should be nothing more than proud of it and share it with the world, and we already have in everything, in medicine, in everything. Some of the best soldiers you will ever know. Roy Benavides, that's the true Rambo. That's the true Rambo. He's here from the valley. That's who we are. We're small, pero picosos. We're chile piquins, man.
Picosos, man. For sure.
I might be 5'6" and 3/4", but man, don't push my button because I'll be 12'9"
in
a
a
second.
mess you up, man.
12'9" in a second.
That's awesome.
But my town built me. That's who I am. I'm a product of my town, and I love my town. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna make it better. My goal now is I look at life through my grandkids' eyes. So I gotta leave it right. The way that declaration of that Constitution that I raised my hand to, that we are all created equal. That's what I'm gonna leave them. That's what I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna leave them that. So at 52, I just feel like I've gotten into my skin, and
You're 52.
Yeah.
You look good, man.
hey, thank you.
I'm
a grandpa. I got 3 grandkids,
man. I'm way younger than you.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Well, since I said it, how old are you?
42.
I got a dime on you.
You got a dime, man.
Wow.
But you still look younger than I do. So kudos.
Enjoy the glasses God gives you in 8 more years. It's gonna blow your mind. When you hit 50, He gives you a new pair of lenses, and you now get to see what you thought was coincidence or you were lucky or whatever. You now get to see, wow, you love me that much. Wow. Wow, you've let me restart right now at 52 and put me in the best position I've been in my entire life after this storm that I went through with you. All I had to do was believe in you, give you the wheel. Wow.
Is that what you learned at 50?
Huh?
Is that what you learned at 50?
Yeah. My dad always told me, James, life after 50 is pure profit. Yeah, I've lost my dad. He's been gone, I think, 5 years now. And
condolences, man.
and I thought he meant the house would be paid for, the kids would be done with college. No, that's not what he meant. What he meant is you'll now get to see things for what they truly are. That's what he meant. So I don't take things for granted anymore. I got work to do. There's things I got to do. There's a responsibility I've got to make sure it's the way it needs to be for my grandkids. We can't take this with us. We can't take this with us. We got to leave. We got to make a difference, you know.
How much would you say your perspective has changed? Do you feel like it's changed throughout decades or throughout certain periods or instances of life? You know, your 20s versus your 30s versus your 40s, because it sounds like you've found this total renewal in your 50s.
Yes, and yes. So every step, you know, I also believe that God will never give you more than you can handle. I honestly believe that because I'm a product of that. And it seems like at 20, I got everything I could handle. At 30, of course, now at 50, when I look back at it, I laugh because I think about that 20-year-old was so overwhelmed with those silly little things.
Like,
you know,
materialistic things?
Yeah. Materialistic things, what other people thought about me, everything, how I thought I needed to be. We're always trying to measure ourselves to somebody. You know, you hear competing with the Joneses, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, I flipped that script. You know, you got to compete with the Perez. You know what I mean? If I'm aligned with God, 20 million people can tell me I'm crazy and it ain't going to work. But if I'm aligned with God and I feel it right here, that's all I need. I pull the trigger. Your last podcast said it better. And you got to have them.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have balls.
You gotta have balls, Jerry. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you're either gonna pull the trigger or you're not. I used the words, and he caught my attention when he used the word because I'm not scared of words. I've used every word there is. If anybody has the guts to ask me what words I've used, I'll be happy to tell them because they're words. They're absolute words. They're part of our history and they're words. They're all words. And so that's a word as well. But that word, it resonated with me because I use that word when I talk to myself. See, we have voices in our heads. There's a good one and a bad one. I believe it's God and I believe it's the devil, depending on how your receptors are set. Mm-hmm. When I hear the voice that hits me right here, I know where that's it. And when I feel it right here, I pull the trigger with faith. That's balls. It's the commitment. And I know what he said. I because when he said it, it hit me because that's how my daddy said it. And the only reason I know is because now with my grandkids, my daughter has told me to refrain from how I talk. That I'm the inappropriate grandpa right now, Jerry. I don't know if you know this or not. Yeah. She caught me teaching the little one how to pee in the backyard. I thought every boy needs to do that. You know what I mean? And that's wrong.
That is. I'm going to say that is the most liberating, most freedom.
Come on,
that
Jerry.
is what nature intended.
If we had snow, I'd show you how to write your name in cursive. You know what I mean? But we don't. So, sand has to do, the backyard has to do. But she came in and she blew a gasket. My 29-year-old, my daughter, you know, she knows me more than anybody. And I'm like, Aubrey, are you serious right now? She goes, Dad, we are not. I said, well, then, okay. All right. Then I'll just have to turn off my Vivint cameras on you that you can't see what I'm doing in my backyard. That's how she caught me, by the way. This new technology stuff, she can see my backyard with the Vivint button. She hits a button, she can now see.
She was like, "What's Dad doing?" Oh,
yeah. She's snooping on me, babysitting
by the rose bushes.
Yeah, and I high-fived him too. We did a high-five. Oh man,
you're just giving him life.
Yeah,
that's all you're doing.
It's life. You know, how am I not going to do that?
Yeah. So, I will say, man, as a guy, that's one of the perks.
It is.
You could just go outside and just relieve yourself.
If I can get the fast pass, I'm gonna have it. The fast pass. I'm not waiting. I'm like, it's the fast pass.
You don't gotta go inside for that.
Wow. Yeah, I always keep an empty 32 Slurpee in my truck because hey, that trip gets long sometimes, and you
never know.
I'm 52. The bladder doesn't work like it did at 20,
and sometimes you gotta be places and you can't afford.
I got things to do, man.
You're a busy individual.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
So you grow up in a very humble lifestyle. You go to the military.
Yeah.
And then,
well, before the military, you got a quick story for God?
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely, all the time.
So I'm 9 years old, living at 1311 Retama, right there, Refinery Row, and my mom's crying all the time, and I can't handle it, and so I wrote a letter to God. Dear God.
How old were you?
I was 9 years old, 1977. I've got it framed on my wall, the letter, because what I didn't know, and I didn't know till probably 39 or so, when my dad pulled it out of his wallet. I had no clue. He's had it in his wallet this entire time. And when he showed me this thing, I mean, it dropped me to my knees because of why he pulled it out to show me. And I didn't even remember the letter, Jerry. I didn't even remember the letter. But it's obviously my letter, it's my handwriting. I still write like that. Oh, it's the biggest, worst chicken scratch you ever saw. And they say I should have been a doctor. You can't read my writing. And so I wrote a letter to God and basically told God that I think the house is making my mom sick. And that I knew that we had a better house, that it would stop my mom from crying and she would feel better. And I know it's not the best house, but God, it's our house, and as long as we always stick together, we will always be a family. And that's what I wrote.
This was
Truly,
you at
James,
9 years old.
Yep, 9 years old. Put it under my mom's pillow, and the whole thing's misspelled. I couldn't spell a word. You could see, I mean, for a 9-year-old, I'm even thinking, wow, dude, you had no... Just shows you the quality of what my education was at 9. That's how I look at it today. It breaks my heart to see the level of education the boy was getting at 9. It wasn't that good. To write like that, it wasn't that good. And so, but God didn't care. That letter got right to heaven. Jerry, in 90 days, we'll go talk to my mom one day so you can verify everything I tell you. Some lady decided to come over to the Refinery Row. She thought she had this great idea of buying that whole row of houses so that she could rent them out to the refinery workers that work at the refineries. Well, I could tell you how crazy of an idea that was. The people that work at refineries do not live in the barrio. They make $30 an hour and they live on the south side of town, not here. So anyway, but God love her. She bought our house. Before that, Mr. Cantwell from Cantwell Mattress, Corpus Christi, came over, talked to my dad at the porch step. My dad, being a very proud Texas alcoholic, was sitting on his porch with a bottle of Jack Daniels, a fifth of Jack Daniels, and got hired, drunk as could be, from the porch from Mr. Cantwell. So now my mom, we need to find a house to get close over there because my parents don't have a vehicle so that he can walk to work on that side of town. They find the house only to find that the seller of the house won't sell to a Mexican family. So Mr. Cantwell had to talk to Mr. Sokol so that he would sell the house to the second Hispanic family of that neighborhood.
Wow.
At the same time, they're pulling me out of Savage Elementary School to take me to the library to take some kind of test. And I take this test, and lo and behold, I'm gifted, supposedly. Well, the reality was affirmative action had happened in 1979, so they lowered the scores so they could get and mix Hispanics in there, and I scored high enough as they lowered those, so I now got to go to the gifted school on the south side of town, which happened to be exactly 1 mile from the house that my parents bought, so I could drive a 10-speed to my school, and my dad could walk 1 block to his job.
Wow.
So unless you believe in coincidence, my brother, I don't. I mean, back then, that never was even on my radar. But at 50 years of age, I can't not help but look at that and say, thank you, Jesus. Wow. Wow. And that's just, so that's how the little boy from the barrio got out of the barrio and lives the south side of town by the water and has a weekend house on the island on the water, and a house here in McAllen where he loves to be.
Wow.
But I tell you of those things not because I'm telling you about things that I've bought or whatever. I'm telling you because I'm not leaving South Texas. In case you don't know, my last born, Aiden, was born here in McAllen.
I remember that.
So I've extended my home. My home is Corpus Christi and the entire Rio Grande Valley. And then funny part of the last part of the story about my market, the 2 stores in Laredo, Texas, my dad was born in Laredo, Texas. So I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm home. And Laredo, the Valley, and Corpus Christi, all different. The Mexicano, we're all different. I love us. We're better than a box of chocolates. Better than a box of chocolates.
For sure.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, brown hair, brown eyes,
All colors.
different modes, all colors, all music, all different. We're not the same.
Right.
We're not supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you get from this little kid in the barrio to owning, I think, practically all of the Mattress Firm stores in all of South Texas, south of San Antonio, right? I mean, is that accurate?
Pretty accurate.
How many Mattress Firm stores do you own right now?
We have 13, 3 distribution centers, but South Texas is our home. We if I know you need sleep in South Texas, I'm coming to you. I mean, it's not so big that it's overwhelming that I can't handle pretty much everything I can touch in South Texas, and that's just real special to me. As we get beyond South Texas, it's different. Even the mesquite doesn't keep going, Jerry.
Yeah,
The mesquite. You ain't gonna find a mesquite in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, I think it stops somewhere in Rivera or something like that.
Yeah. I took a load of mesquite to a good boy of mine in Galveston, Texas. You would have thought I brought a truck of gold. He
what
was
is
just
all of this?
Yeah, and I just went over to one of my boys in the rancho and I asked, "Hey, Miguel, do you have any mesquite?" He goes, "Does the Pope have holy water? Come on. What are you asking me? I've got more mesquite than you can imagine.
Look around you.
Look around you. I mean, that's the craziest question you ever asked. So he loaded up my truck, gave me a bottle of tequila, and there I go to Galveston, Texas, with a
truck full of mesquite.
And a bottle of tequila. That's my road trips. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You have no idea what we're doing right here. This is me. This is what I do. I love to talk and drink tequila. This is it.
I'm glad you're in your environment.
Yeah. No, I so proud of you, man. I can't. Since what we've met, we've both been doing some growing.
We have.
And this podcast, I watched Joe Rogan. I watched a lot of these guys. I'm interested in this stuff because I never did well in book form. I didn't go to college. I don't have a college ring. My son does. I believe in college, but the cards weren't there for me. That's another story. Well, another bottle of tequila. But doesn't mean I stopped educating myself. I'm hungry to learn new things and new stuff and new ways. And this podcast allows you to hear people tell it like it is. You can save me 6 chapters just hearing it like this. So in our groups, I've got employees that tell me, "Hey boss, can we go to the island?" They want a fireside chat. We throw logs on the pit. We sit back, open the bottle, and then they can open up and ask me whatever. Do you know that's when I found out that they hated working till 8 o'clock? Through that it was a difficult bottle of tequila, man, to hear them tell me how I was working them to the ground. That 1 hour, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. And it was just 1 hour.
It was just
and
1
you were
hour.
grinding them.
I was grinding them. But you know what they meant to say was, when I get home, my kid's asleep and they've already eaten dinner. I've missed the family time. 8 to 7, game changer. Game changer. They go home, the sun's out, they eat dinner with the family, get to put them to bed. Wow. That's the good stuff, man. I'm not in it for the margin. COVID's taught me a lot. I'm in it for the real thing. I'm in it for the grandkids of this. I'm in it for, if you're not sleeping good, I need to know. Foster kids, whatever. We that's what we do. And at the end of the day, we are all in this together. Listen, had the community not supported us, I wouldn't be here talking with you right now. COVID did that. Pier 1's not here. There's some big companies not here, Jerry.
Yeah.
This is real.
There's a lot of companies that didn't make
breaks
it.
My heart.
Yeah.
Absolutely breaks my heart.
And so what were kind of some of the highs and lows of the journey? I mean, from now to where you've gotten, because you seem pretty wise in the way that you think, and I think there's a certain sense of wisdom that where you're speaking, and that only comes from experience.
Well, man. So you've given me tequila, and I'm going to make a confession on your show tonight. Can I make a confession on your show tonight?
Absolutely, I'd love it.
All right. Well, and understand that this is a confession that a lot of people in my category probably haven't made yet, and I pray to God that they will, because just like we said, I don't like seeing Pier 1s say goodbye. That doesn't do anybody any good. But in my category, I only focused on the meat and potatoes of it, if you will. So I presented myself as a sleep expert. And I wasn't alone. All of us in the mattress business, every one of us presented ourselves as a sleep expert. So Jerry, if I've been a Mattress Firm franchisee for 24 years, and I tell you that I just got my first good night's sleep 18 months ago, would you really consider me a sleep expert?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Well, I mean, it's just straight up. Friend to friend. I mean, if me, James, owner of Mattress Firm, 24 years, on TV, selling the best beds, is telling you he just got his first good night's sleep 18 months ago. This guy has access to the world's best beds. Why did he just get his first good night's sleep 18 months ago, Jerry?
I don't know. Why?
Because I didn't know that if you put the wrong sheets on your bed, you could sweat like you've been working out all night long, and your poor wife will wake up next to a swimming pool. And that's because I bought the coolest bed on the market. But I didn't realize what I do to that mattress or cover it could either make it or break it, make me sleep great or not sleep great. How does a guy like me who's been in the business, my grandpa opened up Perez mattress in 1938. How does a guy like me not know that? Are you kidding me? Really? So on your show, I'm going to confess right here, right now, that I've been posing as a sleep expert. I really thought I was. And I'll tell you right now, everybody else that's out there selling mattresses that's saying they're a sleep expert, we're not. If we're not giving you the complete sleep, because the complete sleep is not just the mattress and the pillow. I thought it was. I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought it was. No, there's such a thing as called textiles. And like clothes. There's a reason I don't wear cotton T-shirts when I go fishing anymore.
Right.
I wear fabrics that breathe, that don't let the sweat stay on me to make me miserable. They breathe, they regulate my body temperature.
Right.
Textiles is a whole new world. So 18 months ago, Jerry, I bought sheets that breathe, Tencel, that allow the breeze bed that I sleep on, let that coolness technology go through the sheets, and now I'm finally sleeping good. Are you kidding me? So now I'm doing the full meal, not just the meat and potatoes. The right thing on the bottom, if we need to adjust it for you, put the right frame, the right sheet so that you breathe and sleep and not be disturbed. So the complete meal, not just the patty and the fries, if you will, but the complete meal. So I'm excited. Man, COVID taught me a lot. It slowed everything down enough for us to really, truly look at things. I mean, let me ask you this. Did you do something to your house? Did you do something different to your house while you were in COVID, while you've been in your house? Did you add something, do something, put a new something in there, change something?
I bought a bed.
Hey, give me some. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. But a lot of us stopped in the house and we're slowed it down enough. We're like, wow, man, look at that couch. Man, look at the bed that I'm sleeping on.
If there was any industry that completely just skyrocketed in sales, it was the home improvement industry.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, because people were like, hey, these walls are kind of old.
I built a gym in my house.
No way.
I turned my garage into a gym. I wasn't going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I needed to get active. If not, my leg, I didn't want to be that guy that, hey, I fell down, come pick me up and hit the button on that collar thing. And that's a real thing. As you get older, if you don't start learning the mobility, that's the number one thing. You're going to fall down.
Yeah.
So I spent money, built the gym, but I'm not alone. I've seen everybody add and do things to the house because we're spending more time. We've slowed it down, and it's not the way it was anymore.
Well, I will say, man, to your own past life, how can I put this? To what you thought about before, and the way that you thought, like, I don't think you should be that hard on yourself because you don't know what you don't know. And back then you thought that you had a good handle on it. And I think that's kind of the way life is, man. I mean, you go through life and you think you've got a good grasp of what your perspective on life is, and you feel like that's the truth. And then you get a little bit older, you go through some experiences, you get a little bit wiser, and then you realize, hey, you know what? Kind of what I thought before doesn't really make that much sense anymore.
Exactly.
Because now you get the wool pulled over, you start to pull the wool over your eyes, so to speak. I think that's the
no,
the
it's
cliche
perfect. Do you know we are the ones that know how to fool us the best ourselves? I've been able to justify so many different things, and finally COVID allowed me to finally really reach deeper and go, dude, that's not passing the smell test. It really isn't. I'm going to share another big one with you. This is a crazy one. You ready? This will be my second year closing on Juneteenth. Second year.
Closing on Juneteenth.
I don't know any company doing that right now, and I'm not doing it to brag. That was put on my heart with the lightning bolt in my driveway. When right now it's a time that was so important that it has now been added to the 3 sacred days that we close a year. Our company, Mattress Firm South Texas, closes Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving. We've been doing that for 24 years. Those are the only 3 days this company closes. Well, Juneteenth has been added to those sacred days. So wow. June 19th now and forever until I die or no longer have Mattress Firm, will be closed June 19th in recognition of our black community and saying in a loud voice that we are all equal and treatment needs to be the same for all of us. You know, I come from, you know, I've just shared with you some of my stories, and that's near and dear to my heart. It's been placed on my heart. And here's the funny thing. This got into a very spirited conversation on my end. You got to understand that this June 19th falls on a Saturday.
Which is a pretty...
And I'm not going to share with you my Saturday numbers, but I'm going to tell you that my wife had a very spirited conversation to say, you know, James, I appreciate this, but, you know, this is what Saturdays mean to us with 13 stores, and it's our biggest day, without a doubt. And so keep in mind, Jerry, Juneteenth's not going to land on a Saturday again for another 7 years. This is my test. Did I mean what I said when I did it last year? Okay, that was for last year. Now we're past that. Let's move on. Or did I mean it? And I'm 52. I don't play games with God no more. I played him when I was 20 and I was 29. I don't play him at 52. I don't play when I pray, Jerry. Okay? So I told my wife, you're going to need to figure out how to recoup or figure out, we got plenty of time from here to June 19th, you know, get the tooth fairy involved or whatever we need to do, the Easter egg bunny, whatever. But we're going to need to figure out that math problem come June 19th because effectively June 19th, I'm shutting the whole company down. And not only that, we're going to feed 800 people in Corpus Christi at the Corpus Christi Christian Fellowship. We're going to feed, we're going to start, that's going to be our first year to start this. We're going to do something. We're not just going to close. We're going to do something. And long story short, my wife, you know, after we had a very spirited conversation and we went to bed that night with, you know, the thoughts of what she said and what I said. And in the morning, my daughter called. And my daughter, by the way, she's 29, and she started working with us. She was doing our books, but now she's the top girl at a security company and a lawyer company, security title in Corpus Christi, and she still does our books. And she said, hey, Mom and Dad, can I get y'all on speaker? So we put speaker on, and she said, hey, I just wanted to share something with you. And I said, yeah, what you got? What you got? She said, you know that loan that Mom needs to pay back for $589,000 for the PPE loan for the employees that y'all took out for that Mom wanted me to set her up on a scheduled payment for already? I said, yeah. And Karen goes, yeah. Did you get that set up for me? She goes, no. It's been 100% forgiven. You don't need to make any payments on that at all.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the following week, we did Saturday's business on a Tuesday, the lowest day of the month. That was God kind of just saying,
I got you.
in case you didn't hear my first.
God provides, man.
That's it.
God provides.
That's it. As long as you walk in faith, you
Right.
know, and do something. You know, faith without works is dead. So you got to move and do something.
Was there a time? Have you always been this spiritual, or was
Oh,
there,
no.
Was there something?
No.
Was
I had
there
no
a pivotal moment?
Very
in your life?
pivotal. Absolutely. I had no faith. Zero faith. My wife had to kick it in me. She had to beat it in me. Those 2 years that I was faithless and I didn't know really what was going to happen next. And
Were you young? Were you old? How old were you?
40. I was right where you were
Right
at.
about me.
Right about you. And that was a very tough time in my life. 2.5 tough years. Psychiatrists involved, depression involved, anxiety involved, age involved, everything coming at one time. Lost my dad, had my brother, just everything. And, it's real.
You lost your dad and your brother in the same...
Well, ironically, my dad died on my brother's birthday. My dad, 3 days before he died, said, John's coming for me on Wednesday. And my dad doesn't keep dates in his head, so he wouldn't have known that was my brother's birthday. But he said John's coming on Wednesday, and my dad died at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, so I know my brother came pick my dad up.
Wow.
You can't tell me any different. My faith is solid as a rock. And so, yeah, so I spent a very long time without faith. I met my pastor, Pastor Don Lavelle, in Corpus Christi Christian Fellowship. That's my father, my spiritual father. Black pastor, proud to say that. And he introduced me to Jesus like I've never known. And not through crazy, right through the Word, right out of the Bible, right with what I know. And when this feels right and this feels right, it's done.
And they match.
They match. They feel right. And everything I've done has just been one blessing after another blessing after another. So that 800 that we're feeding is at his church in Staples in Saratoga on June 19th. But I also told him it'd be a good time for him to get other people involved and just turn on the switch to awareness, you know, that the black community is God's children, just like the brown community and the white community. It's no different.
Right.
You
All
know?
the same.
All the same.
Wow. So going into all the decisions that you've made since then, is that your compass? If the head and the heart agree, you go in that direction?
Very simple. My graphics are pretty bad, but I tell my son is Yeah. That's why when your podcast, when he said, "Oh,
You gotta have balls."
Yeah, you know, because it ends up there. It's here, and it's there. You know, that's the trigger. It's when the thought comes in, and I discern what voice it is, and it's very simple. If it's the devil, because let me tell you, the devil knows how to come in and talk in your voice and trick you. He's the master of deception. He will fool you. All you got to do is run it through here. That's all you got to do. Just take it out of here, run it through here. If it doesn't pass through here, throw it away. Throw it away. If it don't feel good, Jerry, throw it away. It's no good. It's not good. Just don't lie. When you hear it, and it's in your voice. That's what's so tricky about it. Your voice will freak you up. You do too much of this.
It'll screw you up a little bit.
Oh, my goodness. But been there. And so I've learned how to discern. So when I hear the voice, it don't matter how much of that I drink. I just pass it through there. It don't matter. Nothing can stop this.
If it feels wrong, get rid of it.
Throw it away. If it gives you that butterfly, that bat, throw it away. If it gives you that feeling of the warmth of the right, pow!
Pull the trigger.
With faith, baby. With faith. Pulse. Yeah. It's what it is. That's the trigger. It just, bam, bam, boom, poof. You know, it's there. And so that's why my relationship with God, I get up probably about 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. That's when I find that he and I have the best relationship.
Is that routine?
Yeah. It's, well, I don't do it. I don't set the alarm. He wakes me up. I'm just, you know, it's me knowing the call. Sometimes you think you had to go pee. You didn't have to go pee. I got to talk to you because all the static is gone. All the news, it's nothing. He's out when it's quiet. That's when he's walking the earth, when it's quiet. So go to your little space, wherever it is in your house, your little quiet space, make one. If you don't have one, make one. Go to your little quiet space, go in there and just talk to him. Start praying, talking to him, and you will be amazed at what you hear. And as you get older and you get to 50, it'll freak you out because it gets way louder, and he wakes you up and he tells you things that you're thinking, are you kidding me right now? And then when you do it, then you look back and you go, wow, I couldn't have done. How do you explain that $600,000? I mean, we have $500,000 left over that, you know, that wasn't expected. Karen was ready to pay that bill. It wasn't expected, you know, so I quit calling things coincidence. I align myself very well. I read the Bible. I mean, I'm not Look, I'm the biggest sinner you'll ever know. I'm not a perfect guy.
I think we all
by
are.
any means. Oh, we are. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Yes, we are. Don't forget that. But we live in God's grace. And as long as and in my mind, the way I do it in my little simple way, I have this vision that when I get there, we're going to flip the switch on the tape. And of course, I see the old fashioned reel, with the tape on with the light going on there.
Yeah.
And we're going to play my reel. And I'd love to be able to say, but look what I did right there. Look what I did right there.
Check out that. Yeah, rewind that.
You don't need to look at that one, but look what I did right here.
Look at this look at this little space right here.
I'm trying to outbalance what, the 20-year-old did and the 30-year-old did and
Yeah.
So at 52, it gives you that crazy little thing. And I even got a little clock. I can hear the little click, 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 click in there because I got things to do. I got things to do and differences to make and to leave this for my grandkids to be able to be what we said it should have always been. Never forget this America that we look at, it's an experiment. It ain't done. It was always an experiment. You and me and our kids are going to make that experiment true. It's an experiment. It ain't there yet. We got work to do.
Well, we're constantly experimenting, right? We're constantly experimenting with what we could potentially do and what we could do, and we're always testing what's possible.
Yeah.
Right? Especially as entrepreneurs, you have to have that sense of curiosity. You have to have that sense of
adventure.
Adventure, man. Adventure. That's a really great word. Is that you got to I think that the best lives that are lived are the ones that are, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs and you're going to have, and like any story in a movie, any great movie, if you think about any movie that you absolutely love, there is a down, there is an up, there is a question of, am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right place? That's the life, I think. That's the adventure best lived is. Nobody likes driving down a flat, straight road with no curves and no...
You'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
You'll fall asleep.
What kind of story is that?
No, I look forward to the journeys. It's my way of traveling, if you will. Every person is unique to me. I mean, just us sitting down together, we learn about each other, and you're like, I didn't know that. In the Bible, God says we just have to sit down together, see ourselves in each other, and then He does the rest. He unites and makes those unbelievable extra things pop out and happen. That's the journey. It's like Easter eggs. And so I always die to come and sit at the table. And that's what we're doing today. When you call me to do the podcast, I kind of envisioned this. I envisioned a table, like our dining room table, where in my growing up, my dad and us, we didn't sit there and, do the, I hope this doesn't come out wrong, but didn't do the Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch kind of way. No, we talked about, stuff. We got into deep stuff that we were dealing with. I mean, the table was where we discussed the stuff, where we didn't have to say it right. We could just say our point. I grew up with that. And so I've learned more from that, fireside chats, and this podcast. Dude, another cheers.
Cheers,
I'm having
man.
so much fun because I get to talk, and I don't have to worry about how I'm going to say it. I get to, kind of be me.
That's the best way to do it.
That
is the best way to do it. Because, I think, personally, and part of the reason that I do this is because every life story has something that you can take away from. And there is no right playbook. There is no, at least not that I found at this point in my life anyway. But it's the search for understanding what the truth is and then pulling from people's experiences and saying, yeah, you know, that's something that I can take, or that's something that I can relate to, you know, because there is no straight line. You know, even if you look at your business, everybody who's an entrepreneur who has these aspirations of being their own, you know, when you start, you anticipate and you hope that everything will be in a line graph straight up. No dips, right? I think that's what you anticipate. That's what you hope for. The reality is there is no straight up.
But you know what? Right now, there is no book written for this new normal. I don't care what business you're in. My business, your business, there is no longer what you and I used to know. If I were to tell Austin, this is how I did it, this is what you need to do, that's the biggest mistake I could do.
Right.
So today, we're pioneers. Jerry, you're a pioneer, bro. Do you know that? I mean, I don't know I don't know who's more excited, you or me. I'm excited to be here with you because you have already taken this new normal and you've moved into it. A lot of people still are trying to figure out what the heck's going on and how can I get back to how it was. It's not going back to how it was, man. Mm-mm. That's the first part you got to understand. The mattress store business was, I'm done with it. Throw it away.
Yep.
I'm recreating the new place for this new normal. Everything that was and was how we did, throw it away.
That winning formula that happened in whatever. I mean, look at Coca-Cola, right? Because for years, in the advertising world, I grew up in college and beyond college. The iconic advertiser was Coca-Cola. When was the last time you drank a Coca-Cola? Do you drink Coca-Cola?
I drink Mexican Coca-Cola only. Only.
But you know, Coca-Cola.
So think about the wasted advertising for me. I will only drink a Mexican Coca-Cola, period. I will not drink an American Coca-Cola. Not. It's no good.
Really?
No, the pure cane sugar, brother. It's no good.
Well, you know.
The pure cane sugar in the Mexican, corn syrup in the American. No, won't do it.
And you know, there's trends. In the beer world, Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser has always been a staple. Now more people are moving to craft beers, you know?
Heck yeah.
Now people are moving to energy drinks. Coca-Cola, I will say, was the original energy drink before an energy drink category was even created.
Oh, yeah, it was medicine.
Yeah.
That's when they put cocaine in it. It was still good.
Yeah, that was super addictive, stuff. Right? Yeah, that was the good stuff.
It wasn't even a soda. It was a pain reliever when it first came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But, you know, things modify, things change, and you got to change with the times, man.
Right now, if you're not changing, you're dying. I hate to say it. You'll be looking from the outside in. What I did, I tied into my 16-year-old. The 16-year-olds are moving this world. The 16-year-old is influencing my 22-year-old. Music, ideas, culture, fashion. I'm blown away. The 16-year-old.
Trends, everything.
So I've tapped into him. It's my version of the Old Town Road. You thought Billy Ray Cyrus was washed up and ready to be thrown away? No, he was smarter than you ever thought because he understood something. He understood what this new generation's power was. Grabbed a hold of Little Nas X. Country music won't let you in? Let me show you how to get in. Mm-hmm. This song is celebrated worldwide. One of the most played songs you'll ever hear. When the two generations got together, my generation and this new generation. That's the magic.
And then they created something new.
They created something new. That's the magic. I'm tying into the 16-year-old. Forget these old mentors that I had before because it's done. Right. I love them, but it's done. We have to pass that baton to this new generation, and we got to guide them. Can't leave them alone. Got to guide them.
And I think that you also have to just embrace the change.
Oh, yeah. They will lock you out. If you don't, let me tell you something. Don't mess with them. They will lock you out. They got a new language. They will put you on an app. You won't even know what they're doing, Jerry.
They'll block you. They're like,
Jerry,
I don't like this stuff.
I'm scared of the 16-year-old. Oh, he will make you disappear. You saw what they did to Trump on the one of his.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was this generation. That TikTok generation went and acted like they filled up that whole deal. Nobody showed up. There was two guys in Waldo in there looking around like, where's everybody at? And my kids were all involved in that. I was watching them do this in front of my eyes, and that's when I realized, y'all are dangerous. y'all are something else. So I'm learning from them. Look at Louis Vuitton. Has changed their entire way of doing things. They're gearing towards this generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's the future.
That's the future. So you either get on or you get off.
Absolutely. So, what would you say are kind of what you've learned throughout life? What would you say are kind of your life lessons? What have you learned along the way? Because you said that you've entered into some highs and some lows. So what have those taught you?
Well, there's a lot of there's a bunch. One of the things that I've always done, I've gravitated to the wise men. I'm one of those guys that my friends were always older than me. 10, 20, 30. A lot of my friends have passed away in their late 70s. I've got some old friends. I don't know what that means. I know growing up, I was always more comfortable with people older and how they thought, you know. So maybe I was just a little more mature for my age, you know. I see that in my kids as well. And so it's allowed me to really be mentored by people in other generations. And I think that's been one of the really cool things that I've been able to see. I've been able to see how the baby boomers, you know, navigated and how they bought and how they did things and how their customs and traditions were. And then I got to go into my generations and I got to see, and now the new generation blows me away. They will get what they need with, and if they can't click it, they'll figure out how to get it just as quick. My 16-year-old blows my mind. And so I realize with the power that they have today, that if it doesn't get mentored properly, it could be devastating. Absolutely devastating. I'm talking about work ethics have changed, cultures have changed, how we look at things have changed. Everything that was what we used to know has changed. And so if you're still trying to keep it in that box, it's going to be very frustrating. So what I'm doing today is I'm kind of looking at it through the eyes of my grandkids, and I'm working my way from that point backwards. So I'm implementing the things that are necessary so that the end result is what, you know, as simple as it is. When I was 18 years old and I swore the oath to the Constitution when I joined the Army, I actually believed it. I guess that's where I really need to say. I actually believe the words that I said when I put my hand up and swore that oath. I didn't realize, though, a lot of others did not. And it wasn't, and I was 18, so now I'm 52. So for my kids, my goal is those words will come to fruition until my last dying breath. That's what I got to do. So it's not about profits. It's not about margins. It's, you know, it's about leaving it better than it was when I traveled through it for my grandkids. And that and that's taken in consideration. I have a 29-year-old, 22-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So I'm going all the way back down to the 8-year-old, working that way. So I figure if it's good for him, they're going to be taken care of as well.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of work to do, man.
Yeah, man.
This ain't easy.
Yeah. Well, going back to like that road less traveled, you're trying to pave the way for a better way for the ones that are coming in.
Yeah. I don't want them to see what I saw. It was tough for me. There was a lot of doors closed. My own, it's tough when your own hometown says that they're not going to support you to open up your business. That's one of the biggest heartbreaks in my life. I went to school there. I worked there, went to the military, came back to make my community better. And now you're not going to let me have the American dream. It didn't make any sense to me.
What do you mean by that? What happened?
Well, banks tell you no.
Oh.
And when you realize who sits on the board of the banks, you realize when you come to them with a paid-off building and all you want is the equity as a loan and they still say no, there's more to it. They don't want you in business because your business might hurt
their business.
Their business. And so I had to learn the hard way. I got over naivety very easy, very quickly. And it only took for me to align with God and for me to see, and that's how I tell people today, if you can see it, you can achieve it. If you can see it, you can achieve it. I don't care if 20 million people tell you can't do it. If you can see it and your heart feels that you can do it, pull it, man.
Yeah.
Pull it. And drop all of those people that are next to you telling you can't do it. Drop them because all they're doing is bringing you down. I got to tell you, when I opened up my company, I had to, including family members, I had to just turn away and say, I ain't got time for you.
Right.
I ain't got time for you.
Yeah. I mean, and there's always going to be those people. There's always going to be those people that don't believe in, your cause or your mission or your vision. And that's one of the things that I've listened to, my own podcasts, right? The podcasts that I listen to. And when I hear about these entrepreneurs that have made it, there's always a struggle. There's always a dip. There's always a sense of doubt in the journey. But I mean, you keep pushing. You keep going. You keep swimming.
Yeah. The sun will shine tomorrow.
No doubt.
Just wake up and go.
Awesome.
That's it.
Love it, man. I wish we had more time, my man.
Dude, we need another bottle and we need to do this again, man.
Ooh, totally.
I got so much more to say. We didn't even cover it all, but
this
my
was,
goodness.
Yes, part one.
Part one.
Of who knows if this will be like Lonesome Dove. Remember Lonesome Dove when it used to air on
and you think
TV back in the day?
I'm taking this with me.
Okay.
It's empty. We finished it.
All right.
I'm taking it with me, and we start that one. Dude, you don't get drunk on tequila when you're with good friends. You don't.
Absolutely
We won't
not.
wake up with a hangover tomorrow, I promise you. We didn't drink nothing sweet. It's good for diabetes. Doctor said it's good. And it's from the indigenous plant la agave. ¿Qué más quieres?
The only thing you leave with is good memories.
Mira, let's end it with this. Ahorita.
There it is.
Nice one. Necesitamos uno, pero
One more.
con madre.
There it is. Cheers, my man.
Love you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Love you too, man.